Hey guys, Jobby Zombie here, and welcome back to my favourite horror movies of all time. This is part number 4. Yeah, part number 4. So let's get straight into it. There are no honourable mentions this time, so let's just get straight into it with Freddy vs. Jason. Yeah, I've done a review on this film before, and it's great. It's great. Like we say, we don't get that many versus movies. I mean, of course, we've got the obvious Alien versus Predator, King Kong versus Godzilla, Frankenstein meets the Wolfman. Even though it doesn't have the word versus in it, it is pretty much a versus movie. Again, Monster Squad is not a versus movie. It's just like a monsters coming together and stuff like that. But oh God, what now? But yeah, Freddy vs. Jason, it's one of the best. I have to say I do like both AVP films because I'm a big fan of both franchises, so I have to sort of steer towards them. But Freddy vs. Jason, don't miss it out, it's a great one. Okay, next up is the Scream franchise. I adore this franchise, and a lot of people give the film shit, especially the third one. The first Scream, directed by Wes Craven, is great. It sort of reinvented the horror genre in a way. It also takes reference to other horror movies such as I don't know, Halloween, Psycho. It tells you the do not of horror films, like what not to do in a horror film, so I like that. And like I said before, the killer could be anyone in a Scream film, and it does get you thinking. I mean, you will see the killer in the film, but you will never go to think, oh, that's him, or that's her, so, God, what now? So, the first one, really good. Scream 2, really like that one. 3, yeah, 3 was good. 3 was good. I mean, I like the fact that it was her brother. Yeah, the killer. 3 was good. 4 took it back to the old roots, I think. Like, after so many years, like how Gail Weathers were trying to come up with a new book and stuff like that. And Sydney being like, having her book out. So, yeah, Scream 4. And then you've got the crazy bitch at the end. So yeah, Scream 4, it was good. I like all the Scream films. Okay, the next horror film is from director Clive Barker, and it's Hellraiser. I'm going to be completely honest with you, I'm not the biggest Hellraiser fan, but the first one I think is fantastic. It's so original. Even though it was based on Clive Barker's novel, The Hellbound Heart, which I haven't read but would like to. I don't know, there's just something about this film that it makes it so... It's very eerie, it's very gothic, it's disturbing, the Cenobites look fantastic. Later on as the films go, they tend to get more and more, I dare use this word, shit. But I like 2. 3, nah. But the first one's my favourite. The first one's my all-time favourite out of the lot. But this film is just fantastic. The cinematography is great. It was filmed in England, so that's a plus. And yeah, it's just all around a fantastic film. So go check out Hellraiser. It will tear your soul apart. Jump cut. It's a different day. That's why I'm wearing different clubber. So let's get into the next horror film with Jeepers Creepers. I love this film. I think it's more of a thriller film than a horror film, but it does have the horror aspect into it. I think Jeepers Creepers 2 was okay. It was okay, but 1's the best. That ending though in Jeepers Creepers. And when are we going to see Jeepers Creepers 3? I mean, the Creeper now is such an iconic character, and I think Jonathan Breck plays him tremendously. So, yeah, Jeepers Creepers. Okay, the next 3 horror films that I have picked are Leprechaun 1 to 3. I think these films are great. They are a franchise. I mean, there's what, 5, 7 of them. But I only like 1 to 3. I think Jennifer Aniston in the first film was alright. It was her first film debut. Warwick Davis as the Leprechaun, what can I say? I especially like number 2, where he's looking for a bride. And then number 3 goes to Las Vegas, and all bets are off in that one. But yeah, the Leprechaun films, they're really good. They're really fun. Even though there was meant to be like a slasher teen horror film, they then turned into a comedy as the films went on. But I suppose there was never really anything horror about them. There was always like a funny, jokey film. But, you know, many people have them as some of their favourite horror films, so, you know, why not me? So, yeah. Leprechaun 1 to 3, great films. Gotta check them out. The next horror film that I've picked has to be Child's Play 2. The reason why I haven't put the first film on here is because I don't watch it enough. Again, with Child's Play 3, I don't watch it enough. But it's a good film, but I don't watch it enough to think it's one of my favourites of all time. However, Child's Play 2 really got me because it wasn't the first Chucky film I saw. The first Chucky film I saw, I think, was Bride of Chucky. And then the next would be Child's Play 2, and I was hooked from there. Child's Play 2 is amazing, all the characters are great in there. Chucky's resurrection was a bit confusing of how a lightning bolt could resurrect him, but nonetheless his death was excellent. So Child's Play 2 is a definite must-see. Okay, the next horror film that I've picked is An American Werewolf in London. This film is pure brilliance. Basically, you've got 2 American tourists who are travelling across England, and they basically get viciously attacked by a werewolf. It's the first time I saw this film, it scared the fucking shit out of me, and it all comes down to the transformation. You will never get a transformation like this in a werewolf film ever. I love this transformation. Absolutely love it. But I also love the Michael Jackson Thriller transformation, and I love them equally because they're from the same director. I love them equally, but whereas Michael Jackson's Thriller had cutaways, this one didn't. It showed it all in graphic detail. And like I said, you will never get one like this. American Werewolf in London is a must-see for any horror fan. Okay, jump cut. The next horror film that I've picked is from the year of 1985, and it's a vampire movie, which goes by the name of Fright Night. Well, actually, it's not... Yes, it is considered a vampire film, but it's got more than vampires in it. I mean, it's got a werewolf in it, or like a wolf / vampire dog, I guess. It's got a melting zombie. It's got everything, every creature. It's got bats. It's everything. So, but it's more of a vampire film because you've got a kid named Charlie Brewster who spies on his next door neighbour, and he is convinced that his next door neighbour Jerry Dandridge is a vampire. Until one night he discovers the truth. But you've got a really great cast. You've got Chris Sarandon, who's the main vampire, Jerry Dandridge. You've got Roddy McDowall, who's Peter Vincent, the vampire killer. I can't remember the other... You've got Amanda Beers as well, who's Charlie Brewster's girlfriend. And also Jerry Dandridge's sort of love interest. Because it reminds him of his previous vampire lover. But, yeah, you've got a great cast. So, yeah, Fright Night. I mean, if you love being scared, it'll be the night of your life. So, definitely check out Fright Night. It's worth watching. Okay, the next vampire film that I've picked is The Lost Boys, starring Kiefer Sutherland. I mean, I've done a review on this film, but if I wanted to do it justice, Again, I would have to have my girlfriend here because she knows pretty much everything on this film. Yeah, she loves it. It's one of her favourite vampire films. Actually, no, it is her favourite vampire film. The film is great. You've all seen it, I think. It's the best 80s... Ooh, okay. Is it the best 80s vampire film? Because then we've got Fright Night. I'm going to have to think about that one. But, yeah, it's just a fantastic film. It's the one that started, like the young vampires, you know, like the teenagers, and you can tell it's from the 80s because like the long blonde hair and the mullets at the back. Oh, it's just fantastic. The film is fantastic. The Last Boys, go and check it out. It's just amazing. Okay, the last vampire film that I've picked is John Carpenter's Vampires. You can't go wrong with John Carpenter. He's done amazing films such as Halloween. I'm going to throw in Halloween 2 in there because he did have something to do with that. Escape from LA, Escape from New York, The Thing. What else? The Fog. And Vampires. Vampires is one of my favourites. The fact that the vampires need the cross to walk in the daylight, and it's amazing. And James Woods as Jack Crow is just fantastic. I haven't seen all of James Woods' films, but this is a must-see because Jack Crow is a badass. He is the ultimate vampire hunter. Okay, so that's John Carpenter's Vampires. Definitely worth watching. I almost forgot about this one, so I had to quickly write it on the list. And it's From Dusk Till Dawn, from Robert Rodriguez and Quentin Tarantino. From Dusk Till Dawn is... It's up there with one of my favourite vampire films of all time. Like I said, with films on this list, I can't pick top 10 or top 3 because I love all the films on this list equally. So I can't do top 10, 3 or whatever. But From Dusk Till Dawn it's one of the best vampire films ever made. It's got everything. It's got gore, tits. It's got a lot of those. It's got great acting. And I'm going to be honest, I'm not the big George Clooney fan. I'm not the biggest George Clooney fan. But he's great in this film. He plays Seth Gecko, who's a criminal, with his brother Richie. And, they're on the run because they just blew up a big department store. Well, not a department store. Well, yeah. And so they go to a bar named Toothy Twister, I know, and all hell breaks loose from there. It was meant to be like a deal, but all hell broke loose from there. And then you've got a preacher who's played by Harvey Keitel. He's great in this film. I do like him in Reservoir Dogs, but in this film he brings more to the table. And you've also got Juliette Lewis, who is in Natural Born Killers. I haven't seen that, but yeah. But this film, it has everything, honestly. So, From Dusk Till Dawn, go check it out. It is definitely not to be missed. Definitely not. Quite funny at times, but yeah, not to be missed. So, that's From Dusk Till Dawn. Okay, the next film that I've picked has to be from 1960, and it goes by the name of Psycho. Everyone's seen this now, and if you haven't, where have you been? It's the granddaddy of all slasher films. I did give Psycho 2 an honourable mention, but nothing will ever top the first film. I mean, it's so iconic, the shower scene is unforgettable, it made movie history. Just the fact that this nice guy could just instantly turn on you, and it's just, yeah. And so it was, the book obviously came first, which was written by Robert Bloch, and yeah, so Alfred Hitchcock did an amazing job with this film. So go check out Psycho. The next film that I've picked is The Shining. I've done a review on this film, and it's brilliant. See, I'm lost for words because The Shining is so brilliant. It does mess with your mind a bit because it's one of them mind fuck ups, or mind fuck films, but you really need to get into the film to like it. Like, you need to watch it a couple of times to understand it, and, you know, I wouldn't say appreciate it because it is very much appreciated, but you need to watch it a lot to understand what's going on. And Jack Nicholson, you know, with the line "Here's Johnny," obviously came from, I think, Johnny Carson. I think it came from there, which was like on a late night TV show. So yeah, go check out The Shining. It's fantastic, absolutely phenomenal film. The next film is one I've already done a review on, and I'm not going to say a lot about it. The Exorcist. This film, everyone's seen this by now, and everyone says, they either say one of two things. It's the scariest horror film of all time, or it's their favourite horror film of all time. I wouldn't say it's scary because, you know, now it's more funny than it is scary because you've got all the, you know, the sexual innuendos going on in the film. But at the time, for 1973, there was ambulances waiting outside the theatre. People fainted, vomited, you know. So back then, I believe it was banned. Yeah, I think it was banned. But back then, you'd seen nothing like it. There was absolutely nothing like The Exorcist. So that's all I'm going to say about The Exorcist. I think Linda Blair is, oh my god, I've never ever seen a child actor who worked so hard, who was put through hell to make a film. And I think she was phenomenal in that film. So go and see The Exorcist if you haven't already. Whew, okay, that's where I'm going to leave it, guys. Stay tuned for part 5, and hopefully part 5 will be the last part. So yeah, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more videos. I'll see you in part 5.